Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 15th of December 2020. Today we are going to change gears and we're going to have a look at a price chart using a telescope. It's a special telescope that I wrote a long time ago, and I think that there are only a handful of people who are aware that we have this very unique and special tool. And so I just want to bring this to everyone's attention so it's the forefront of their minds when they're looking for a way to perform an analysis. And again, I'm trying to mix this up a little bit because I know supply and demand and liquidity distribution can be a pretty complicated task, and so I want to just show it in a way that's a little bit different, that enables people to take a snapshot of the price of an asset without having to fiddle on loads of different charts, because I feel that changing between these charts all the time tends to confuse people a little bit, because what is applicable on one time frame may not be on another time frame, which may not be on another time frame. So there's a lot of conflicting information, I think, when we're looking at a price chart. So I just want to go at it via a different angle, and we're going to go through a lot of pairs today. I'm not going to spend too much time on each, but I'm just going to show you what we're looking for. And again, this has to be simple. You want it to be relatively quick because we'd like to do our analysis, put in our orders, and then get on with our days. But I just want to show you how it can be done. Okay, and so I have the price chart of, this is the British pound American dollar, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. You can see this by the color of the box. And you can see that I have something that looks a little bit strange. You can see that there are actually a bunch of rectangles on top of each other, and your question may ask, well, shouldn't these rectangles be blue because we're on the 4-hour chart? And the answer is, well, it depends what tool you're using. And we do have a tool called the Pipnotic multi intra-candles indicator, which is an unbelievable tool for the reasons I'm going to show you just now. Okay, so if you look at this, and I've marked off this little something in here that I think looks quite attractive. And why have I marked this off? Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you what these boxes are, what they represent, so that we can use this information to give us confidence when putting trades on. What it's doing is, it is showing us the candles from multiple time frames at the same time. And if you're familiar with the colors that we use at Pipnotic, well, then you'll know that purple is the monthly, orange is the weekly, red is the daily, blue is the 4-hour, and white is the 1-hour. And so when you see this, you may be asking yourself, well, what are we looking at? Well, we are actually looking at a continuation pattern. If you focus precisely on what we marked off just here, we're looking at a continuation pattern that happened on the daily and the weekly chart within a price imbalance on the monthly chart. Okay, so you can see that we had a very nice move away. So this would be a green candle, and you can see the top of this box is marked as green, which means that it is a price imbalance candle. So that is telling us something about the buying pressure during this month. And so you're asking, where did this buying pressure begin? Well, you can see via the X-ray that we can actually see that it occurred on the weekly chart, and you can see just here that we had price that was within a base. So we had lots of accumulation candles, and these are accumulation candles. Why? Because the tops are white on the monthly chart, white, and here we have the green candle that left the station. Okay, so we're seeing 3 periods of accumulation and then a massive price imbalance leaving that area, and within that monthly price imbalance we can see a continuation pattern. And this is typically what we'll look for an entry when we're trading on anything. And so what do? Well, you simply mark off that pattern, okay, and then you have your position. So I'm just going to put this order in, and this is just a small test account that we can use to test these theories on. And I always use live accounts. I'd rather spend a little bit of money on trades when I'm learning than on demo, because demo accounts simply aren't the same. So if if you're lacking funds, and obviously use a demo account, but if you have like a few $100 that you can invest on market tuition when you're trying to learn these concepts and theories, then I recommend that you trade micro lots or even nano lots if your broker supports those. But I'm just going to put this in because I think that looking at this continuation pattern, I mean, it has everything that we're looking for when considering entries. Price rallied, it stuck around in the area for a very limited amount of time, one period. You see the white candle, the white week. Price closed above this area here. So this is a beautiful area for us. I'm just going to put this in. So the stop loss would be at 124.58. 1.2458. My profit will be, we don't know yet. We'll just leave it at where price currently is. I'm just going to put H4 here for my comment, and then we're going to get in at 126.23. 1.2623. I'm just going to plop that in here. Good. So I'm just going to move this down. Here we have a 1-to-1, 2-to-1, and a 3-to-1. So I'll just leave it at that for the time being. This is just a beautiful example of a very nice trade based on some sound principles. We have a beautiful pattern. You can see alignment in all three time frames: the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. We have accumulation here on the monthly chart. We have a lot of noise within that. You see wicks going down below this month of trading. We have a tiny pin bar, some wicks above, and then we have the explosion. Okay, so this is just a beautiful pattern for that reason. Okay, let's go to another pair. Let's go to the American dollar, Canadian dollar. You can see I've already put something in there. And here we have a very similar thing going on where we have prices wriggling lower. Okay, we have a pin bar on the monthly chart. We have a nice bearish candle here. We have a bullish candle. So just let me explain what the colors mean. The bottom of the color on the bottom of the box is telling you what direction it is. Open, close. This one's red. Open, close. This one's blue. If it's white at the top, it's an accumulation or distribution candle. And if it's lime green at the top, like this one here, it means that it's a price imbalance candle. Okay, and you can see that we are moving lower. Okay, so where is the breakaway point? Well, if you'll notice here that we had a weekly, and I say weekly because we're looking at the orange candles, price went down. We managed to reject at this area here. Okay, so price came down this area and we turned around. We did this for 1, 2, 3 weeks, and we came down. We tested this child. We tested this area just up here. This is some daily supply up here, which removed this small continuation pattern. We came down. We tested, and then we came down. We moved sideways, and then we left. And so you ask yourself the question, well, where did price leave from? Well, it left from the open of this current month, so December. So when December opened, you can see we're currently just at the beginning of the third week, so we have just at the beginning of this orange box at the bottom. Let me zoom in a little so you can see that. So we have the orange box here. Here's the bottom of it, the blue line, and we're on just the beginning of the week. We have a really nice push away. Price is moving sideways. Where do we have a departure, a beautiful departure from an area of sideways price movement? So liquidity being exchanged, changing hands. Well, we have that very clearly here. We had price tested an area on the daily. We went up, we moved sideways, testing these lows here on the daily and weekly. We moved sideways, we left, we distributed, and then we cut away. So we had a pattern on the daily chart, and then we had this huge, beautiful departure candle here, and this is the origin of that move. So this would be a very interesting place for us to consider to sell. Okay, let's go to the Euro American dollar. It looks like we have something else on as well. Let's have a look. So what do we have here? Well, we have something similar going on where we have price moving sideways. We moved up, we moved down. We had an extended range, a price imbalance candle here, a bullish candle, bearish candle, bearish candle, bullish candle. Then price moved sideways a little bit, and then we had the weekly candles begin to move away from here. And so if you look at this here, well, you can see pretty clearly. Let me delete this. you can see here that we actually had a period of accumulation where price rallied. We have the green candle, white, white, and then we had another push away and another push away. Okay, so the origin of this strong push away, it is where the white candles are. So we would do something like this. So we'd have something that looks a little bit like that. So this would be the place that we would think the price would bounce. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in. Okay, this is our beautiful test account that we can play with. And the reason it's important to use these test accounts, preferably trading nano or micro lots on live money, is because it gives you experience with the market. If you're doing this on a demo account, there's no regard for the money because it's not real money. But if you have real money at risk, then you're feeling it. Then it's getting under your skin. It's engaging your emotions, both positive and negative, and so you're a little bit more on the ball. In contrast to using a demo account where you're less likely to feel any emotional attachment to the outcome of any trade. Okay, so this is 117. This is a stop loss, 57. The target, we'll just put the target like this. I'm just going to put H4 in here because this is where the entry was taken. The entry price is 118.85. 118.85. I'm just going to plop that in there, and I'll leave that for the time being. Okay, let's go to another chart. Looks like we've got something on there as well. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, we have, this was actually taken on a smaller time frame. So if we zoom out just a little bit and go down to the hourly chart, perhaps we can see what all that noise is about. Okay, so here we're seeing the price move sideways, down, up, down, up, down. We formed this beautiful base, a really nice base just here. We had a liquidity exploration down here. We have divergence on the bigger time frames here. Then price rallied, we moved sideways, rallied, and it has not been back since. And so the beginning of the buy zone is here. See how price kind of pulled back. So we had a liquidity exploration, then price left. But this is the origin of the move. This is the place where price came from. So this would be an interesting place. But looking at this, you can also ask yourself the question, well, where has price already been back to this price point before? You can see it has. And so one could scroll and have a look at what it was that price looked at. And you can see very clearly that we had the exact same thing occurring here where we had price rally, painting white candles, white candle, white candle, white candle. And then we had the release from here. This is exactly where price went to, and yeah, to the pip. Price poked into that area, and this is where it left from. 2 times, a little bit deeper, and it's gone. Okay, and so this is just a really beautiful example of exactly what we're seeing. But looking at this, you'd say, well, this is not a beautiful area, and you're right, this is not a beautiful area. And so what do? Then you don't take the trade. If it's not a textbook beautiful area, then you take it off or you reduce your risk. So we shan't do anything there. We'll just leave that like that. We'll go to the next one, and this is the American dollar Swiss franc. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, so we can't really see anything, so I'm going to go on the 4-hour chart, and this is going to show me daily, weekly, and monthly candles on the same chart. You can see, well, this is really wriggling south, and you can see that this is what I'm interested in. I'm looking to sell up here. I think this is a beautiful departure candle. Our price moves sideways for quite some time, distribution, 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 and then we had an extended range candle, and within that you can see exactly where this distribution of liquidity started to move price. And so this is a very attractive price to begin to sell the American dollar Swiss franc. Okay, price left. We have not been back, so here is the beginning of the sell zone, which is below our entry, which is perfect. And so this is a trade that you put in and you'd leave for a period of time and then wait for price to come back up and pull you in. Okay, moving on to the American dollar Japanese yen. I don't like this pair at the moment because it's not really doing anything. So if we have a look at it, you can see it's kind of wriggling lower. So what you can do is you can go to the smaller time frames. Let's go to, for example, the 30-minute chart and see if we're seeing these patterns occurring on the smaller time frames. And you can see that we do have some things occurring, But this is just, it doesn't look, I look at this and I don't see a whole lot of clarity. So let me go up here to the 4-hour chart and see if we can find something. And if not, we just leave it and we go on to something else. If you look at this, I mean, that doesn't look terribly interesting, does it? So I'm just going to scroll. Where do we have these patterns? Let me zoom out a little bit. We don't really have these patterns. We had this one here. We had the nice push away. So price closed below the lows of this previous distribution candle. We had the weekly within it. Price came back and it left, but it's already gone. So I mean, looking at this, there's nothing to do. I don't want to force anything. Price is just stuck in a range there, so I'll just leave that and go on to something else. And it looks like we have something in here as well, so let's see what that is. Yeah, and you can see the same thing just here, where we have price rallying, moving sideways, and then we had another push higher, and we have this weekly explosion. So let's go down to the hourly chart, which is going to show us 4-hour daily and weekly candles, and then we can put on the X-ray and have a look. And you can see very clearly on this time frame that we have a very explosive move. We had 1, 2 candles on the daily chart pushing higher. We had a rally, accumulation, and then we had a price imbalance leaving from this area here. So this is where we're looking to buy. Where is the buy zone? It starts here. Has price been back there yet? It has. It's gone a little bit deeper. So actually it's a little bit deeper. So maybe price is, we're doing some liquidity exploration. We've moved a little bit lower, but this is where the party is. And so this is where price will gravitate to rebalance this price imbalance and to resettle any distribution or positions from around this price point. So we'll leave that on. We'll go to the next one. Let's go to the Australian dollar, Swiss franc. And these tools are at your disposal. You have all of this stuff available to you. Okay, let's have a look what's going on here. Not a lot of clarity. Let's go to the 4-hour chart so we can see daily, weekly, and monthly candles. Okay, so what do we see? Now we see something here. Let me see if I can add a few more months of data. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to go to February. I'm just going to go to the beginning of the year, the 1st of January. This will give us a little bit more data so we can have a look at that price point here. And the reason I've added this feature is because I want to be able to see what is going on, but I don't want it to look at everything because that's an enormous overhead for the computer. So if we look at this, you can see how we had price come down and we had price rally up. And so there's something down here that is attracting buyers from this price point. That's very, very far away from price, so I'm not even going to look down here, but what I can see just here, that we have something occurring just in here, and we have 2 continuation patterns. We have the parent, we have the child, and they occur at about the base of this huge price imbalance. And so it's an expectation that price will gravitate back to this candle where price is not rebalanced. Where do we have the buy zone? The buy zone is around here. Okay, and so price could easily come down there, find some support for price, and then continue wriggling higher. But I still need to see more data, as you can see here. I mean, this high is looking to be below this high, so I want to make sure that we're not in a downtrend. So I'll just put this back to, I'll just look for a lot of data. I'll go a year back, the January 1st, 2019. I'll let that load, and then we'll have more data to look at. So what's going on? Let's have a look. Okay, we're in a downtrend. What does that mean? That means maybe be careful buying. And so that gives us a different perspective entirely. So what we can do now is that we can start to look for these patterns above price, because this is the most obvious place. Okay, if we look here, I can see something here that looks interesting. You can see how price rallied. We formed a high. We came down. We started to paint distribution candles. Price had another run higher. So here we have liquidity exploration, and we have a departure from this period, this distribution candle here, from just here. Okay, so price came down. We had a daily distribution here. Price came back and tested that already. We had a weekly distribution, how price formed these two candles. Price broke away. That's been rebalanced, and so the beginning of the sell zone is above here, which brings our attention to this up here. And this looks a little bit messy because we had price gapping down. So we had actually price gap down here, and then price went up on the daily chart and then came back down and closed close to the open of this week. So we had actually a gap just here, but the gap has been rebalanced. Okay, this was the close of this candle this week. Price rebalanced that, and so price will likely not need to rebalance that. But what we do have instead is we actually have something up here. So I can mark that off like that, and this lines up beautifully with the opens and the closes of these 3 months of trading. I had a bearish month, another bearish month, a bullish month, and then this is one that closed below all of them. Okay, and the origin of the move that left this area of distribution is at the open, or roughly to the open or the wick of this weekly candle here. So I think this is a pretty attractive spot. Let's click on the wick so we can see, which makes it very messy, which is why I have it turned off. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting. So what we could do is we could, for our entry, put it up here so we have lots of space. Okay, and then let price feed back into that in anticipation that it wriggles lower. Okay, instead of looking to buy down here. This is an interesting place, but this would be more interesting as a take profit than it would an entry. So I'm going to put this one on as well. I need to know our position size here. It's going to go like that. There, I can see it. So tiny position. Stop loss is 7,200. 72. The target is 05950. This is an hourly, sorry, a 4-hour supply. There's a sell limit at 70.78. 70.78. I'm going to click that in there. Right, so we'll leave that on. This is what we've got going on there. I think that's an interesting spot there. I don't know if price is going to come back down there, but it doesn't look like there's a little bit of demand actually. If we look here, there's something here that also looks interesting. So this could be a place for price to return to and react at, okay? Because this was supply, price came down, this is demand, it removed this supply, price tested that demand, and so this is probably a very high likelihood, there's a high likelihood that price is going to have another reaction at that point. This is the buy zone for this area of demand. This is demand because we had that huge weekly push higher. The monthly candle closed above this, and so this would be an interesting place for us to look to to buy our position back. Okay, let's move on to the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. What do we have here? Well, looking at this, where do we have sideways price movement, congestion? First of all, we want to see where we are. Are we in a downtrend or an uptrend? Okay, so this is where price was. Okay, so we have price imbalance, distribution, departure. This is where price is now. What does that tell us? That tells us that we're actually at a place where we could potentially expect price to bounce. So let's mark this off. Let's just box off this area where price currently is, and then we'll see if we have data from our broker that we can have a look at so we can analyze that area just a little bit further. Okay, so we can't see on this time frame, so what we'll do is we'll click on the weekly chart and we'll have a look at what it is that we're contending with, and you can see we're actually contending with this. So we have an extended period of distribution and price cutaway. So that's what we can see here. We can see very clearly that this is that monthly candle. If we go to the monthly chart here, you'll see it. Just here, this is the monthly candle to the left, and so we actually do have something going on here. Okay, this is interesting. This is where price is currently sitting, and we're right at the 7900 area. Well, minus 70 pips because price already tested it. So price was actually, let's mark off the area where price actually was. 7900. Oh, that's so tiny, almost can't see. 70. Okay, this is where price went to. Okay, so this is where price returned to, which is just here, which is actually the bottom of this monthly candle, and this is where price departed from. Price is currently here. So what you could do is you could say, we think this is an interesting spot, and so you just mark off the area there, and then use this as a place to get involved with this trade. What we could also do is we could, knowing where price currently is, we could actually go to this time frame and wait to see if price will come back to us. So if we have a look here, maybe go into a smaller time frame, the daily chart, and go left, mark the high off, which is essentially the edge of that box, and see if we can find a nice little spot that we think price would disappear from. And I like this here. I must say, I like how price moved up and then came down, moved up, came down, up and down, up and down. Then we had one last push, and this is where we left from. So we have this continuation pattern, but we also have liquidity exploration from here, from around here. And this would enable us to put our stop above this small structure just here. So I think that this would be a more attractive place to begin to entertain a short. Price is still in an uptrend. Okay, so you can either take that or you can wait, but price is still slowly wriggling north. But I think that this one is a more attractive area to trade, and you could obviously move this down so you can put on a bigger size and just put 2 times the size of the area. We could also explore this area a little bit more, and you can see here we have another micro liquidity exploration. Okay, so we have price moving up and then down, and we have a push higher, a departure, and then price left. Okay, and so we have something in here. Okay, so we have an area of demand, and this is demand simply because price was able to trade above these highs that were historically respected. You can see, if I just mark those off, you can see them here. Okay, tested, 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 price managed to trade above. And so this right here would be a very interesting price, I think, for this asset. I'm going to remove this, I'm going to remove this, I'm going to put it like this, just to be on the safe side. I'm going to mark off the high, and I want to look over here. I don't know, these darn brokers don't really have a lot of data. I'm just going to take a chance, and I'm going to put it up here. So I'm going to go back here, I'm going to go to the daily chart, I'm going to put that pending order in close to the big figure, which I really like. I find that putting your entries close to the big figure increases the likelihood of there being a reaction. So the stop loss is at 81.12. 81.12. Your target, we don't know just yet. This is a daily area, D1. And we're going to sell. This is 79.90. 79.90. Okay, so this is what we have. So where are we going to put our entry? Sorry, our target. We have something here that's a bit of an obstacle. But what I'm seeing when I look at this is I'm seeing a potential liquidity exploration. We could move it here at least. Let's go to the weekly chart. Okay. We have tests. Yes, I like this. I really like that area quite a lot there. We have our entry above this weekly area that's been marked off by the software. I think that's fine. This is also a nice area. This is the place where price came to. The slingshot was pulled back and then we left. But price has not been back to this. This has not been rebalanced, as we could see on the other chart. So I'm going to leave it there. And the target, we don't know at the moment. We have 1 to 1, 1 to 2. We'll leave it at that for the time being, and we'll adjust once this trade gets filled, and if it works, then we'll see what happens. Right, moving on to something else. This is the Australian dollar, Kiwi. Okay, what do we have here? Well, first of all, are we in a downtrend or an uptrend? This is important to know, just so we know where the flows are. Matter of fact, let's put this on this chart, then we can see. Drag this over there. Okay, we're actually in a downtrend because we had demand here. It was tested once, it went up, and now it's gone. And we're actually reacting at the area of supply that is responsible for moving this area of demand. And this is demand because when price left here, we managed to move above these highs. So this is an interesting area. So have a look here. So we want to find the pattern inside here. If there isn't, then we pass and we leave it alone. But let's go to the 1 hour chart, and we will have a look. Where do we have this pattern occurring? We can see it here. Price went up, we moved sideways, we have big daily wicks up here. We had departure on the weekly and the daily, and price came up to it, and then we left. So this has been rebalanced. We had another departure. We had a continuation pattern from here. So we had a bearish week. Price came down and then left. But what we have not yet rebalanced is this right here. This is interesting, relatively interesting, because we have the beginning of the sell zone, which is right here. Let me mark off my line, which is here, which tested this area of supply, and it came down. And so I'm expecting price to go at least that high, at least through this, and move up to this area here. So I think this is fine. Again, we need to interact with the market. We have a hypothesis. We do our analysis. We get a hypothesis. We get a bias. We're in a downtrend based on what we saw on the weekly chart. And so we put on the trade. You have to put on these trades. Okay, so we'll put a new order in. And this is 6 microlots. There's our stop. Our target we don't know yet. We'll just click it here and let it give us a price, which is, it's always going to be where price currently is. See, my computer's lagging because it's doing a lot of stuff. This is a pending, a limit order. And the entry is 10843. Then we'll put that on and we'll leave it. And so targets, where is there an obvious pattern like this just on the other side of the market? I can see that right here. You can see we have one right here. So we'll put it there. We'll leave it at that. Okay, let's look at something else. The Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Let it load. This is a long video, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice it up into small morsels and be done with it. Here we had a beautiful one where we had a high, we had price trade above that high on the daily and the 4 hour, and then come back and test. And so this is just a beautiful daily configuration pattern, and now price left. Okay, so we have price moving. We're trading above these highs here, but let's go on the 4 hour so we can see daily, weekly, and monthly, just to find out where we are. I removed the number of candles that we could see just to avoid overhead, because it was pretty enormous. So let's actually go to this time frame and have a look. And you can see now that, yeah, we are in a bit of a downtrend. By the way, look at the update to the supply and demand software I'm just finishing up. An area of demand tested, an area of supply, huge rejection, area of demand, huge rejection, area of supply, huge rejection. So a really nice update that's just coming out within the next week or so. But you can see that price is looking pretty bullish. Okay, we have upward sloping trend line, which means that we have demand supporting price. We also have highs that are being removed, but also note that we are getting a little bit close to this very clear bearish price pattern, and we are overall in a bit of a slump, as you can see how price went up, and then we're kind of going down like that. And so just be a little bit careful. But notice about what I don't like about this is that price has already traded this area here and here and here, so you'd want to look above that. Okay, so we have the path of least resistance, at least for the shorter term, is going to be higher. So let's have a look on the Canadian dollar and see if we can find a place to buy, being mindful of the fact that we might want to get out of the trade when price comes back up here. So going to the hourly chart, let's have a look. What do we have? Maybe we have nothing. Here you can see that we have a very strong week of trading. Price went up, we closed above the highs here, and now price is still looking to push higher. So there's also something in here. We do have this daily area of demand that's responsible for price closing above here. Let's see if it closed above the highs. Indeed, it closed above the highs, so that's commitment. We do have this area here. Let's go to the half an hour chart so we can see 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily, just see if we can find some small clear patterns using our X-ray tool. So let's have a look. Okay, just about loaded. There we are. Okay, here we can see it. So this is what we could see on the other time frame. So this is that big, so we had the big week of bullish price action around here, and the candle was here, and this is in the middle of it. Notice what do we have? We have this beautiful push higher. White, white, green. This is delicious. So this is a very obvious place for us to look to want to buy. So I'm just going to put that in there. Okay, so, and if you consider the trades that we're putting on, not all of them are going to win. If we get 50% of the trades right, that's good enough, because our risk reward is relatively high, and so we're willing to risk one for the possibility of getting at least three. And so we don't have to win many trades in order to be even slightly profitable, which is essentially the aim. And so we had that departure here on the 4 hour as well. So this is going to be roughly where we enter. I'm going to put my stop down below here because price could easily feed down into here, and this is just a delicious spot for us to begin to look to trade. So I'm just going to put that on. So 9 micro lots. The stop is going to be 80.47, 80.47. The take profit we don't know yet. We'll just put it like that. So this is actually a daily area because we can see the pattern clearly on a daily chart. Just show you that once again. See, looks pretty nice on the daily. This is a pending order, and our entry is 80.89, so 80.89. Let's put that on. That's what we have. Okay, so going back to the 1 hour, so we can see a little bit more data. See what we have. And so we could now, if we go to the 4 hour, then we can actually see where that opposing area was and ensure that our target is far away from that. So you can see it here. We're getting pretty high, so we could put it roughly here, because this is where you can see those small patterns occurring inside this week of very bearish trading. Okay, you can see it's red at the bottom, so that was selling, a lot of selling, and price went up, we turned around, we went up, we turned around, and now looks like we're seeing some support for price. We're also seeing liquidity exploration occurring here. And this is interesting. This supports our bias for price to have a shorter term push higher. I'll remove that. Right then, let's go on to the next one. All right then. Great news. We finally got internet installed in our home after 4 months of trying to get internet installed here in Spain. You wouldn't believe the bureaucracy here in Spain. It is nothing I've ever experienced before. It is dizzying, and everything takes such a long time. You would not believe how many hoops we had to jump through just to get a bloody internet connection, but now we have it. So right, so what's going on? Let's have a look here, see what's going on the weekly chart. Wow, so we had a huge sell-off, and now price is taking a bit of a recovering from the shock. We gravitated up to this continuation pattern here. Price tested it. Now price is looking to wriggle high, as you can see. So we have a long bias. So where do we have those nice little bullish patterns? Let's go to the 1 hour chart and use our X-ray tool and just look for these nice patterns. Maybe we can't see it on this time frame. We might have to go to a smaller time frame. Oh, it kind of occurred already. How you had this white candle, we had a huge red candle moving higher, really strong push higher. Now price is again recovering from this shock and gravitating towards value. We're not seeing that a lot on this time frame. Let's have a look. Turn on the X-ray for the hourly, 4 hour, and the daily. See if we can go to the left and have a look. You can see we saw it here, right here. This is beautiful, but it's already happened. So let's see. Yeah, we poked into that already. It's gone. But due to the fact that price went to it, let's have a look. Okay, due to the fact that price came to it very quickly and left very quickly, I would not have any reservations about trading this one again. And again, we need to interact with the market, and so we need to put these on. So I'm just going to put my trade like that, and then I'm going to put my position on. I'm going to put my entry just towards the lows of this pullback here, and now have a look at the position right there. There it is. So let's put this on. So this is one mini lot. The stop loss is at 68.51. I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to put 68.45, just a little bit below the target we don't know. So this is actually, what is this? This is a daily continuation pattern, isn't it? So I want to put D1 here, and this is a buy, and our entry price is 0.6881. 6881. Let me see what the spread is. I will put 882. We'll plop that in there. And so where would we want to get out of this trade? Let's have a look. Got to wait for everything to load. Okay, so we did have this month close above this month here, and so this is telling us that we do have a keen interest on driving price higher shorter term. And so we could, you know what, we have 1-to-1, 2-to-1. We'll leave it at that and we'll adjust accordingly. We do have a bit of a range. We do have the beginning of the sell zone is around here, so we could put it below this little pattern here and be done with it and just wait and see what happens there. Right, next, the Kiwi Canadian dollar. I'm just going to do all of these pairs and just slice this video up into small little pieces. Oh, you can see very nicely what's going on. Oh, huge torpedo. Okay, the train left the station. Where did it leave from? Well, it left from here. Okay, so I'm just going to mark that off. Let's have a look here what it looks like on the weekly. Yeah, you can see it very clearly here. I mean, it left here very, very forcefully. We have higher highs and higher lows. We are currently reacting at this, but price has already been back to this price point here, hasn't it? It's already been here. So this is actually where we could look to begin to get out of our trade, maybe here. So let's have a look here. Now going down to the smaller time frame. I'm just going to mark this off. This is a little bit unclear, isn't it? So we have a white weekly candle, another white one, and another white one. So we have kind of accumulation, 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 accumulation. This is a candle to the left. It's going to mark that off from here to here, like so. I'm going to go down to the smaller time frame just to see if we can refine our entries just a little bit. Let's see what we're given. Okay, so here, yeah, I don't know, looking at this, yeah, I like the price left from here quickly. We do have, let me zoom in a little. So we do have this here, where price came up, we moved up below. We had, we gapped up. You see, we gapped up a little bit, and then we kind of left from here. And so I would be keen to look the lows of this pullback before the departure. So I will do something like, maybe something like this. Okay. And if you look at this, you can see this pretty messy, isn't it? But we need to focus on, I mean, this candle here, we gapped down, we rallied, accumulated on the 4 hour, rallied, tested that, so we rebalanced that. Price rallied, accumulated, rallied, accumulated, rallied. We pull back to that, and so this is rebalanced. This one here is not rebalanced, so I'd be keen to do something like this. I don't know if we'll get filled. We could very well just bounce at the highs here and be done with it. But it's also the big figure. I prefer that trade, and so I'll leave it at that. So let's put that on and see what happens. So stop loss is at 87.36. Our target we don't really know just yet, but we have certainly something up here. $88.08, rather 8808. Right, so let's go have a look here on the 4 hour one more time. And notice that I have a ton of trades open, and that's not a very good idea, but I'm just doing this just to explain that this is how you could go about doing it. And so if you look here, I mean, one might feel inclined to say, well, actually we want to grab from here and then down to here, but I'm a little bit more conservative. I like to get a better price, so I can see that we have kind of the high, the opens and the close of this candle here, and this one there, roughly around here, and so I'd be more comfortable kind of going for that here, something around here, which gives our stop a bit of protection. Okay, so that's what we'll do there. Let's continue moving on to the Euro CAD. And the reason I'm putting, just to go back to this, the reason I'm putting my entry lower is because in many cases price fills your order and then it moves against you for a period of time. So about 8 times out of 10 price will move against you. And what does that mean? That means that price is looking for better prices. And so I could put it in here, but there's an 80% chance that price is going to continue seeking a better price. And so I'd rather put myself in the sweet end of the scale and just put my entry at a better price. Okay, going to the Euro Canadian dollar. What do we have here? Let's zoom out. Okay, so we're moving higher. We had huge gaps from here, so we probably have the price gapped up. We kind of had a huge, like a gap, and then we had like a bit of a shock and recovery. Price is kind of drifting lower, and so value is below here, and so we could look right there. Let's go and have a look on the hourly chart. All right, so let's have a look. Oh, I can't believe I don't have enough data. Okay. But looking at this, let's go to the weekly chart. I mean, price is rallying. north. We're reacting at these highs. We had one test, two tests, and we still weren't able to do anything. And so maybe looking at this, I mean, this is pretty sideways. I'm not going to do anything on this one. I can't see enough data anyway, so I'm just going to leave that alone. Go to the Euro Kiwi. Can't trade everything. We have to find the good ones. So this is what we'll do. So having a look at this, what do we have? Well, we have prices wriggling higher. We have a high. We can see it clearer here. Our prices, we've actually poked into this area of weekly demand. Okay, and so you can see that we have a low, we have a high, we have a kind of an extended pullback here into this area of demand, and now we're starting to wriggle higher. And so it might be a good idea to go to the smaller time frame. We'll maybe go to the hourly initially and then have a look at the 30-minute and see if we can see where we have these intersections. Let's look here. Do we have anything here? Yeah, we have this white candle. We had a week of bullish price there, but just below here there's maybe something going on, but we can't see here. So let's go to the 30-minute, which is going to show us hourly and 4-hour and daily. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, no, may not be keen to look. Okay, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 periods of accumulation and then a departure. We have the slingshot that's pulled back, so this is the beginning of the buy zone for this area of demand. I'm just going to mark that off like this. Okay, so this is the area of demand. Let that click. Good. Then we'll go here to the bigger time frame and have a look, see what it looks like on the 4-hour daily and the weekly. Okay, so looking at this, I mean, price did depart from here, didn't it? Have we poked down into there yet? We haven't. You can see that we still have not rebalanced this, and so there's a likelihood that price is going to do that sooner. Whew, had a big sneeze, almost blew my head off. Right, so there's a likelihood that price is going to want to rebalance that, and it's not a huge imbalance, and so there's a very good likelihood that price is going to continue to seek better prices. So let's zoom out. Sorry, zoom in and look at these candles. So we have the daily, 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 daily. I'm thinking we probably have something that looks a little bit like this. It's difficult to see because there are lots of gaps and it's pretty messy gaps, you know. So you have to be a little bit careful. But what we can see is we can see this. We had a nice 4-hour continuation pattern, rally, accumulation, rally, accumulation, rally. Price came back to this price here. Did it test it? It still hasn't even tested the beginning of the buy zone, which is a good thing. So maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just continue rallying higher and price will have left. But this looks like an interesting area. But you notice I'm going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That means that I'm uncertain. And that means leave it alone. So that's what I'll do. I'll leave it alone. Okay, so looking at this one, you can see that we have a low. This is a major low. Okay, our price came up. We have a low, high, higher low, and price managed to move. Let's see if it managed to move above. Let's see. No, we haven't managed to move above this high yet, but we do have an incredible push higher from this area here. So this is an attractive price for some reason. Let's just mark that off. Then go down to the smaller time frame and do our X-ray. Yeah, so this is interesting because price just had a huge push away from this area here. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 periods, 5 days of accumulation, and then a big push higher. And so this may be an interesting spot to have a look at. So we'll do that. We need to interact with the market there. Put the stop below there, and let's see here. so this is going to be, stop is 106619. Take profit is there. This is a 4-hour area. This is a buy limit at 10691. 10691. Okay. Would be a good place to get out, where you can see how price moved sideways there. We're gapping down from here, so let's just kind of leave it. Let's go 2 to 1 for the time being, then we'll see what happens, what price looks like once it, if this trade works. Okay, wow, we've been going for 1 hour. I'll do one more pair, and this will be the Euro British Pound. So go to the 4 hours so we can see the daily, weekly, and the monthly on one time frame. Yes, we had a month of accumulation, and then price started to race north. So this is telling us that we have keen interest to buy. So we'll just want to find some nice areas of demand below price and look for nice entries there. So what do we have here? Here we have this, which I like. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 days of accumulation, and then a big push higher, accumulation, and then push higher. So this is interesting. So this is one that I would be willing to bet on. We'll put something like that. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. We'll put that on. 5 micros. Stop is 8871. Target we don't know yet. This is actually a daily, isn't it? Because we're seeing the daily pattern there. Market execution, no, this is a buy at 89.23. 89.23. This could continue to go higher because there's no supply as of yet. So let's wait and see what happens once price comes back there. Good, well, I'm going to wrap that up. That's a very long video, lots and lots of examples. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 pairs. That's plenty. That should give people a bit of inspiration, a few things to watch, maybe a new method to perform your analysis. As I mentioned, there's tools available to you, so just grab it, click it on the charts. It works a dream, and see if you can use it. If you have any questions, please leave them in a video or in the Discord channel. And once